All right, we are live. I think shouldn't be getting any desktop audio, which is good. So, what is the good word, ladies and gentlemen? Probably not going to be watching the Slack chat all that much. I don't like the way that looks. So, pa, 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 pa. So we're gonna get started here at 9 p.m. like always. What's up, Skip? And we got LBC Cody. What's up, LBC Cody? Oops, that's not what we want. We want to go to Horse Search. All right. What's up, Rancho? Wishing for some good results for a change? I actually had a decent day today. It's been not so much the case as of late, but I had a couple of good runners today, which I was pretty happy about. Shag, what's up, man? Give me 1 second. I meant to take this. I'm going to kind of go in order of when I got these. But we'll get started at 9. Here for the credit giveaway. Oh, well, you need to buy some races. All right, fair enough. We'll see what we can muster up. That's why, because that's not my horse. All right. Need to buy some races. I can respect it. Yeah, so if for anybody who's wondering, tonight basically what we're going to do is, and I got to remember I got my camera on. Can't keep my hands in my... We're going to answer questions if you got them. We're also going to go over some horses, what the trainers did right, what the trainers did wrong, if they did anything wrong, and we'll have a little fun at some people's expense. Maybe we will, or maybe we'll have some fun at some people's expense. Maybe we won't. Kind of just depends on how the horses look. What's up, Taffy? So that is kind of what we're going to do tonight. I'm going to kind of let people filter on in here. So we'll just, we'll take it from there. But anybody who, you have some questions, but you forgot them, Cody. What's up, Scoobs? Rob? Yeah, I mean, anybody who's got questions, again, feel free to ask. I'm going to do the best I can to answer them. Look at my stables and everyone have a lot of fun laughing. I think we all feel that way. Not at your stable, Skip, just in general when we look at our own. But yeah, no, it's should be interesting. Like you said, I'm not going to give too much away. I can't give you exact ratings or anything like that. So, again, don't ask about exacts. But we're going to kind of break some things down. I'm going to talk about the horses that you did give me. And kind of give a high-level overview of, all the fun stuff, maybe where trainers missed, where they didn't miss, where they did good, where they didn't do good, that sort of thing. Or maybe the horse just was pretty crappy. Let's see. We got Dragno. What's up, man? I'm curious about mine, Taffy. You can look at my horses and tell me what I did wrong from LBC Cody. Well, we got Rar Menska. Or Mensky, sorry. Mensky. DB, right on time, buddy. We're about to check your horse out. Just kind of waiting for folks to kind of trickle on in here. Sabbath. All right, Sabbath. Yeah, if you can do me a favor, If your name in Twitch is different than your name in the game, please make sure to type your name in the Twitch chat, your game name in the Twitch chat, so I know who you are, so I know where to send credits when we do the giveaway. I'm trying to get everybody in here. There's Rob, there's Cody, LBC Stables, all right. Got Sabbath, Taffy, Dragnell. I think I got everybody so far. Yep, we got everybody so far. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to kind of go ahead and get started. We'll start with DB's horse here, and I imagine that I'll probably get questions. All right, just making sure I have the right screen showing. I'll probably get questions as time goes on and as we start the discussion and what have you. Could you show us the mare to the horse you pull up? That sometimes makes a difference. Yeah, can you guys see what I'm looking at right now? I mean, I'll show you the mare. I mean, this isn't the mare, obviously, but this is the actual horse. I'll show you the mare, when we get to that point. Can you see okay? Is it big enough? Should I zoom in a little bit, or? I can kind of see your words there, Beer Keg. I'm not really sure. Are those words? They look like numbers. We got Scoobs. Did DB's horse ever go over 6 furlongs? Never actually went under 6 furlongs. So there's that. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. I unfortunately have no ability to pop this window open any further. That's a kind of a crappy construct of the website for whatever the reason. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Gato del Lago. And what I can tell you about this horse right off the bat is that he was a pretty talented horse in the grand scheme of things. He had a pretty high ceiling in terms of where his skill level was. Obviously, as we see the grade 1 badge there. His preferred distance was between 10 and 15 furlongs. Well, actually, no, he was between 10 and 16. So he pretty much anything beyond 10 he was going to basically get. As far as his maturity is concerned, his maturity would have actually been at 5 years old. So he would have peaked. That's when it would have started to get really good for this horse, is when he turned 5. Let me see here. We got Dan's Gonna Freak. It's small on the phone. Just a little zoom would be helpful. Let me see if I can zoom in. There's a little 175er for you, if that works. That's a little bit better. That is going to blow my mind up right there. That is big. So we got Mr. McConaughey. I was going for Kevin Hart. So this is a crazy horse, which is why you suggested him matching the trainer. Yeah, DB, you are a little batshit crazy. All right, so let's talk about what DB did. So clearly, DB ran this horse starting at 3. Obviously, that wasn't the ideal spot for this horse. The horse, pretty much matured at 5. Now, that's not to say that he did anything wrong here, because he came away with a grade 1 win. So not going to say there's anything wrong with that. As far as surface is concerned, this horse actually leaned towards the dirt. DB looks like he figured that out pretty quick. If you look here, he kind of really, the horse kind of started to turn a corner, it looks like, late into its 3-year-old season. He's also on the old engine, just to be clear. I want to make that clear. He's not on the new engine, this horse. So I don't know. So wear and tear is not a thing for this horse. I'm not really sure what all would have, how this all would have kind of transpired, because as you can see, he started running really well a lot earlier than his mature age would have suggested. So with this particular horse, DB kind of figured him out early, got him a grade 3 victory as a 4-year-old, right? And then kind of fell off a little bit, couldn't get that 9 furlongs in the Barry Foster. And then he turned 5 and kind of just took off, as you can see. I mean, win, third place, in a 10 furlong, second place in a 9.5. Then he wins the grade, or the 16, that's 16? Yeah, 16 in the Seattle Stare, and he wins pretty handily here, right? Comes back and wins the Breeder Boulder Marathon at 14 furlongs. Wins another one at 16, the Kelso. Then wins again. Again, this horse was just pretty talented and primed. He's not the most talented horse I've seen in the game, but he was up there. He could have definitely held his own. And that he did, right? And he pretty much won up until the end. So, DB, can't really shit on you too much here, but man, you did good with Gato Del Lago. So the only knock that I can really give you is, he was maybe run a little bit too early at 3 years old, but you would have never known that. So overall, kind of got to give you an A with the way you ran it. Yeah, too much positivity. Sorry, man. Somebody's going to send me one that'll fuck it up. If it makes this one better, the class for this particular horse, he wasn't like top notch. So he was a little bit of he was a little bit of a head case, but he was more professional than a head case. So you can kind of take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, man, he was a good horse. Not much else you can say about it. And he was pretty versatile. So that's the way that one works. He never hit again. His 111 speed he had as a 3-year-old season. The horse did well, but the old system, I do not have a clear knowledge. Well, he never had to. I mean, if you look at his numbers, I mean, he only had to win a 105 to win by 4 lengths. He only had to run, a 102 to win there. He got his ass beat in the Seattle Stare as a 6-year-old, I think that is. Yeah, I mean, he was just a good horse. He was just better than everything he ran against at that level. No, I never looked, BK. I never saw. I never got an opportunity to look. My son decided he was going to be a pain in the butt tonight, so I never really got a chance to get back to the computer and do like a full-blown search. Maybe next time, though. Right, so we're going to move on to the next horse. Taffy posted a link in the chat. What's up, Kentuckiana? DB, I was confused for a while on what distance he wanted, but the listed race going 10, 4:11 is what tipped you off. Yeah, I mean, again, man, I can't fault you for this. Like, this is, you got 17 wins, 42 tries, you got a few grade 1 wins, a couple of grade 3s. Yeah, there ain't nothing wrong with this. I mean, you can't run it really could it have gotten better? Of course, but in this game, winning as often as you did at the level that you did, yeah, I would say I'd probably give you an A+ for how you handled this one. Exactly, Rob. Exactly. So let me add Kentuckiana. All right. Okay. So next one was Spin's horse. Spin sent me this one. This one is called Scatterlings. Ben's my buddy. Good evaluation. Thank you. Dragnose. No, definitely not. You win 3 grade 1s with any damn horse, you better shut your damn mouth. I don't think I've ever done it. I think the most I've won is 2. Anytime, DB. So we got Scatterlings, who is a 15-year-old mare, who I need to pull up in the code, so give me 2 seconds. There we go. King Mambo, Stormcat, Singspiel. That's the breeding. Did pretty good as a mare, or still doing pretty good as a mare. I mean, technically has 5 more to go, I think. But overall, let's see what happened with Spin's horse here, because she was a stakes winner never really lived up to the bill of the breeding, I would think. I mean, I would imagine Spin was hoping for more than this. But if we look at this horse, not as talented as Donnie's horse from a minute ago. The preferred distance was 8 furlongs or so, mile, and she was good to. She was pretty much just good to get a mile. Lucky to do 7.5 or somewhere probably between 7.5 and 8.5. But she was kind of a one-trick pony at a mile. Is kind of what the story is on this one. The other thing with her is Spin had her running on turf, and she was a heavy-leaning dirt sire. So, or not sire, excuse me, heavy-leaning dirt horse. Spin didn't figure that out, it looks like, until late into the 3-year-old season. And for this particular horse, she would have already hit the peak age at 3, so Spin probably missed a good 11 months in the window. I mean, she did like you see here at 3 years old. As soon as she switched to dirt, she got a win, right? Even at a route, right? I mean, or at a 9 furlong race, which was kind of out of her range. So she did manage to get a few different wins here. She was pretty talented. You know, again, she got a 9.5 furlong win here against the 4-horse field. I did look at this 4-horse field. It was pretty weak. So that's kind of my explanation as to why she got the win there. She was probably just better than anything else that was running. But yeah, I mean that's kind of it. You know, it was, you know, she was a very, I mean, not a bad horse, right? I'll say this: Spin is a very good trainer. Had Spin figured this horse out at the right time, she probably could have got graded out of this horse. Now that being said, she also retired way too early because this horse was kind of like an Iron Man of sorts, because while it matured at the age of 3, it probably could have gone well into its 6-year-old season, well into the its 6-year-old season, and still had success. So she might have pulled the trigger a little bit too early on the retirement, but it's understandable considering the horse just kind of fell off, right around July of 2012. So, but overall, again, it's not terrible, right? I mean, she won 4 races. She wasn't bad. She turned out to be a pretty good mare, if you ask me. And she's still technically producing. So, she was, more of a miler. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I imagine she's probably passing some of her traits down to the babies and what have you, or her foals. But that's going to kind of do it for Scatterlings. So we love this video. Oh, thanks, Kentucky. Was a good producer of foals and had a grade 1 and yeah, definitely. Again, not bad in the grand scheme of things, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this horse was terrible, but like if we look at Dawn Goes Down today, where did this horse find most of its success? At a mile. That's where, fell off. At 9 furlongs, couldn't compete. 10 furlongs, wasn't going to compete. 8.5 against the boys, ran pretty damn good. 8.5, and 8 against fillies. This was the level that I'm pretty sure that her mare passed down to her. So, again, it's not always going to work that way, and there's going to be a horse that I'm going to go over tonight that will show that. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what happened with this particular horse. So overall, can't fault it. Produced a big, highly regarded horse. I'm completely spacing on what EOI stands for. End of year award, I guess. So yeah, I mean, got an end of the year award, which is huge. Yeah, can't be mad at it. Was a good producer. We need to do this video with my 2-year-olds. Yeah, maybe if I did that, Mike would rip me a new one. Sorry, can't help you there. Wah wah. All right, so let me go ahead and grab the next horse. We got Taffy's horse, which is Devil's Arrow. Devil's Arrow. Sorry, let me get this one. Got to get the ID off. Oh, I already have it. What am I doing? I'll pull it up in the code. I actually prepared ahead of time. Who would have thought? You feel like this one, the Devil's Arrow, was a one-trick pony? Well, we're gonna find out. Excuse the pun, but all right. So this is today's horse, right? Like this is on today's engine, which is pretty gonna be pretty telling. Put it that way. Pretty good breeding. You know, can't go wrong there with the sires that were chosen, or the mare that was chosen. But let's find out. Arrowgate is, he didn't really get started in his career until he was older, until he was well into his 3-year-old season. But let's see what Taffy had. Taffy had a super. Hold on a second. I'm missing something here. What am I missing? Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. What did I miss? Okay, there we go. All right. So Taffy actually had a super talented horse here. This is, out of the 3 that we've looked at so far, this is the most talented horse that we've seen. Now, clearly, it didn't produce the way she had hoped. She did get a stakes win out of it and $500,000, which is not too shabby. But this horse probably should have won a graded. At the very least, he should have gotten the opportunity to compete in more graded. So, and I'll kind of go into detail on that here, but I think what might have happened with this one, Taffy, is just looking. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, so if you look here around May, July, this is actually when your horse was set to peak. So 4.5 years old is when your horse hit full maturity, and it shows in the speed numbers, right? So yeah, you hit him, but I think there was so much wear and tear on this horse by the time you hit him that graded wasn't going to happen unless you found a weak group. The other thing is, from a distance perspective, he was definitely, like you said, a miler. He was more of a one-trick pony in that respect. Now, well, let me backtrack on that. His preferred distance was a miler, but he could have gone as low as 7 and as high as 9. If 9 would have been stretching it a little bit. Anywho, as you can see here, he definitely ran well. He, kicked ass at the allowance level. I just think he was a little bit beat up. But he was, about as classy as DB's horse was. Not over the top. Really just kind of, was professional, was mostly professional, but had his off days is the best way I can put that. But from a mature age, I would say roughly around 4.5 is when he would have peaked. And you would have gotten another maybe till he was 6. Wasn't really considered, didn't really have good early form as a 2-year-old. It was okay. It was enough to, compete, but it was not going to be, it wasn't going to win you any graded as a 2-year-old. So you didn't really have he really didn't have a shot there unless you would have found some pretty weak spots for him. And I am going to go over one trainer and one horse, or one trainer's decisions on a horse that proved to make the horse better than it actually was. So I'll go over that. And I know I just kind of said that sentence very stupidly. There was an easier way to say that, and I'll get to it later. But yeah, that's it, Taffy. That's it for this one. Devil's Arrow. Again, ran pretty well. Obviously he has the baby this year. So jury's still out on that. Can't tell you what was passed, if anything was going to be passed. Again, he-mares have the exact same abilities, or the exact same chance to to pass their traits as mares do. So it's all randomly determined. So there's nothing I can really tell you there as far as that's concerned. You're just going to have to continue to play with it and figure it out like the rest of us. Now, I did get a request from Taffy and Valessa about a Hall of Fame horse called Bot Twisted or Bow Twisted. Reading is not my strong suit. All right, we got. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on. Let me catch up on chat. So we got Ben's my buddy. Oh, King posted a link. Where am I? Cody said, "Oh, that was one of my questions. If a mare with cheap breeding hit the sim lotto and was a great horse, do those traits pass down to their foals, or is it just no?" So mares have traits, and there's the ability to pass those traits. There's actually a trait on the mare that's called passability. So if a mare has a high passability trait, then she's going to probably pass most of her traits down to, her foals. So, Taffy 120. Yeah, I think I read most of Taffy's comments here. Skip said, I found some good allowance horse just won't step up and grade it, improve a contender in the sim. Yeah, they just might not be ready, Skip. That's all it could boil down to. You might have a super, super talented horse. Just might not be ready to go. Taffy says she's sitting that one on the shelf. Well, hey, I would try it. I'll tell you this, Taffy. If it was me, because, if it was me, I would probably try that horse at 8 to see what he has. Just given what the mare did, And again, if he doesn't pop the way you think he should, you can always put him on the shelf and wait and see what, kind of comes of it. Then we got Skip said, "Oh, the whole family is late maturing." Oh, there you go. So you have some insight. Skip says, and list stakes winners. I will include in that. They move up in class to graded, and they find difficult. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be an inherent jump in skill level, right? Like that just exists. So like the way you have to look at it is you're running against stake horses right now. Or even allowance horse. You're running against most of the time. You're running against horses who have only won an allowance that are now up at stakes. So you're running against allowance horses at the stakes level. So at that point, yeah, you're gonna see a significant increase as far as skill is concerned. And then again, the pattern kind of carries on as you move up the chain here. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely I don't want to call it a skill gap, but there is a jump in class that, definitely challenges some horses. Some horses just kick ass, man, and they just destroy whatever level you put them at. So, Rancho, I'm assuming he mares function the same as mares. They do. He mares function the exact same way as mares do. Let's see. Sabbath said, is there not a change in distance preference as a horse ages? No, not as they age. It's pretty standard. They do have, so there's variance curves built into the game, or built into your horses rather, that will tell them when they're going to do good and when they're not. Tell them when, but tell them, basically give them the ability to run at certain distances at certain levels or certain times of their career. So it's not, there's a set preferred distance from the time that they're born, but it's not a hard-coded distance, if that makes sense. It's kind of like on a variance curve, and as a horse matures, the variance curve either gets wider or it gets shorter. Best way I can explain that. So to answer your question, Sabbath, yes and no. So Beer Cake said, so a well-bred underperformer with high passability could be a real dangerous pit of expensive underperforming foals. Hold on, let me read that again. A well-bred underperformer with high passability could be a real dangerous pit of expensive underperforming foals. Could be. I think this horse that we're going to go over now is probably going to answer that question, BK. Now I know about maturity. I will rest them all till 4. I don't know that that's the answer, Taffy, but again, you could definitely do it if you want. Okay, so this horse was requested by Valesa and Taffy. They actually sent me a PM today. And this is a very, very unique horse in the sense that it had 4 or 5 different owners, if I remember correctly. And this horse actually ran in claimers. So all of its wins came on routes. And if you look at its progeny here, they all, with the exception of 3 of them, were stakes winners or higher. So, if you were wondering about this horse was damn good. It just got run wrong. So, this is, and mind you, this is on the old sim too. So, the old engine rather, because he's 24 years old. So, what I'll say about this is probably one of the most talented horses. Not one of the most talented. This horse was probably about as talented as, who was it that we just looked at tonight? I think it was DB's horse. This horse was probably about as talented as DB's horse. So he was definitely up there, or she was definitely up there. Not as talented as Taffy's horse, which I think was a little bit more, had more ability than this one does. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked here. This horse was pretty damn talented. The problem was, if you look here, he only ran 5 sprints. This horse, against its breeding, was actually built to sprint. So his preferred distance, or her preferred distance, was under 7 furlongs. Could have gotten as high as maybe 8.5. No, that would have been stretching it. Probably could have got as high as 8, right? Like consistently. This horse was super classy on race day. It got the highest rating there. It always knew when to show up, what to do, rather. Now, it didn't get run properly. And a big reason for that is because this horse actually did not mature until 6 years old. This is one of the older horses here. So this horse would have been good from 6 years old to 8 years old. And then at 8 years old is when she would have stopped being good. Not stopped being good, but she would have started to kind of go on the decline. So, that being said, as you can see here, she got run at 6 furlongs. I don't even know how old she was there. So this was 3 years old in 2002, 4 years old in 2003. Yeah, so retired super early, never actually got a chance to run on the peak. And again, horse went to Claimers, got picked up by 2 other owners, and I'm pretty sure, 3 other owners, sorry, so it must have hit the auction at some point too. But yeah, as you can see here, just never really ran. And my thought process behind this is she was super talented. She was probably best at 6 furlongs between 6 and 5, between 6 and 7.5. And she just got run too early, wasn't ready to go. And yeah, she ran 9 here and got the win, and against older at that. So that would confuse the shit out of anybody, I would think. So just a lucky draw there. And then, she ran well again in NW1X, ran an 89, which is a pretty high figure, I guess, from back in the day, but just never really found her footing. But again, she was a super classy horse. Had she made it to 6 years old and been on the track, still running, she would have probably been pretty good. She was a heavy turf-leaning horse. But the cool thing about this horse is, and now that it's fully retired, I can tell you the reason why all of these horses were good. The reason is because this horse passed it, bow twisted, however you say its name. She passed her traits at a 92% rate. That means there was a 92% chance she was going to pass her rate, or pass her traits, excuse me. So all of these horses had a chance to get her talent level or higher. And I'm going to be honest with you, most of them did. There's a couple on here. I looked at a few of them. I think Yobo and where's the Dubawi? Swilcan Burn. These ones were actually better than she was, if I'm not mistaken. Bo Talks might have been better than her too. I'm not positive though. Anyways, the point that I'm making is that they all passed. She passed her traits to them. All of them ended up as grade 1 winners. Some at distances that were completely different than her, like the Dubawi. This one, if I'm not mistaken, was a 10 furlong. When I looked at it earlier today, was a 10 furlong horse. Got there all the time. No, I mean, we just was a through and through router, completely different than Low Twisted. So, again, like I'm not. This is just proof that you got to try everything, right? So you see that one. Let me go back and I'll show you. Yobo, I think, was a miler, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Yobo was a miler. So she literally threw her talent, and all of these horses or all of these sires passed their best distance, I'm guessing. Let's look at Fastnet Rock. I bet this is a sprinter. Yeah, sprinter. Again, you just got to kind of play with things, right? And that's the way it works. It's almost like taking a guess. Let me see here. Let me get caught up. So we had Vision FTW morning all morning. Vision. Rob Bellata been messing up horses forever. Oh, Jono, let me get you added to the list. All right. And then we got Rob. Let's see. Tabby Sedan. That's cool. Rob, wow. Just finished 5-day uni course. Awesome that I finished in time to come to the line. Yeah, man. Thanks for coming. Much appreciated. Thanks to everybody who showed up, man. This is awesome. Is the 92% passability trait a trait that passes to her foals? No, that's all generated on the fly. Sorry, Beer Keg. You can't key in on that, buddy. Doesn't work that way. That's the only trait that gets generated. Well, I shouldn't. That's the only trait that is always generated randomly. Rancho, I definitely need to beef up my broodmare band. Yeah, I think we all do after watching this. Vision, thanks. Yeah, absolutely, man. Or Jono. Quick question with sprinters. I've read other experienced players on the forum say they don't see their horses show any particular preference for a distance as long as it's under 8 furlongs. In other words, there's no such... that would be a lie, Steve. That is a lie. There is a preference for 6 furlong horses. Well, I don't want to give anything away, but yes, they do have preferences at the sprinter level as well. I mean, hell, some sires will pass sprinter traits. Like, that's just the way it works. Let me add Steve Sutto. Vision, hey, so can I give you a horse so you can tell how bad I screwed it and where to go from here? There's one more horse I want to go through, and then I will take a couple of suggestions. I'm just going to randomly pick a name because I know a few of you have posted. I know King was here too. Let me get King AB added. So yeah, let me just kind of roll through this and then we'll see. Because I got... Oh shit, did I not add? I didn't... Hold on, I forgot one. I knew I forgot one. This was Padre Bry's. Padre Bry. Okay. And let me go back to... No. All right. So... Let me do Padre Bry's real quick, and then I got one more I wanted to get to, which was... she doesn't know I'm doing this, so... I didn't tell her. But she did such a good job with this horse. I am going to show you all just how good it actually was. And if I don't get your horse this time, you can always shoot me a PM. And if this is something that's popular or something that the community is interested in, we can always do it again, right? I mean, I'm not obviously going to do it for every single horse. I won't do it for active horses today. This is mainly to take a look back at retired horses. And just have some fun with it. See where we went wrong. See where we did some things right, and go from there. So this was Padre Bry's horse, Wilhelm Schmeck. Ran 36 times, won a grade 1, or is a grade 1 winner. I don't know how many he won. I'm going to find out here very shortly. But would probably help if I was looking at his ratings. Let's see. So pretty talented horse. Again, he was about as talented as they come. he was about as talented as DB's horse. So again, Taffy's horse still takes the cake in terms of ability. But he looks like he was heavy leaning turf, obviously, based on the past performance here. Looks like Padre figured that out pretty quick. He was actually, oh wow, he had a wide. He was actually really good pretty much everywhere. So he had a pretty big spread on distance. Preferred distance probably would have been anywhere between 9 and 13 furlongs. Like that's where he kind of really shined. As far as the mature age, he had a really, so this horse was an Iron Man of sorts. He had a he matured early, so he matured early into his 3-year-old season, and that would have carried him well into his 6-year-old season. So I have a feeling that Padre did not fuck this up. Sorry, excuse the language. The only thing that Padre did, and even then you can't be mad at it because he managed to win on talent alone as a 2-year-old, but he really wasn't a 2-year-old runner. I mean, I know he won a couple of races here. He won 2 races as a 2-year-old. One of which using the little, well, no, that's not really the trick, but anyways, he won 2 races as a 2-year-old. So pretty good there. And then as a 3-year-old, started to put it together a little bit more. Won a residency stakes, and then went straight into Grade 1 and close second place finish. Kicked ass at another Grade 1 at 14.5. Won the Breeders' Bowl Turf at 12. Might have been a little worn out, maybe. Well, no, because wear and tear didn't apply at this point. So maybe just a bad dice roll here in the Japan Classic, or maybe the horses started catching up to him. Granted, he was going against older. I mean, I know he was the race before too, but maybe it took it out of him. You never know. So again, kind of, ran his races pretty damn well at 3. Moved back into allowance at the 4-year-old stage, and then, never really got back to that level again. Technically speaking, he should have been good till he was 16. Oh, this is on the new engine. Never mind. So wear and tear would have been a thing here. Yeah, so he definitely probably hit a wear and tear wall. If I had to take a guess, probably somewhere around here, which was his 4-year-old season. Yeah, because he was still winning consistently at the allowance level. So yeah, that would be my guess. Let me see. Let me go back to the comments here real quick. Taffy says, "Yeah, I had a 6 furlong specialist, Grade 1 winners, etc." Yeah, no, I mean those exist. So anybody who's I'll debunk that right now. There are sires and mares that pass sprinter traits. Simple as that. That's all. Let's see. Skip says, "Is there a way to see the traits that your mares have and may pass on the foals, or is this a pure guess by the players?" So the traits would be anything that I discussed in the very first stream. So like maturity, for example, 2-year-old form. So some mares pass like a precocious trait down to their progeny. I think you froze, Cody. As far as I can tell, I'm still moving. Maturity passes. I mean, early form or 2-year-old form rather passes. There's some agers in here that can pass. Peak age patch. The length of maturity can pass. Distances can pass. The turf. The surface can pass. What else can pass? The style. Horse's class. Pretty much anything can pass with the exception of the pass attributes trait. So that's pretty much it. So we got Soto. Thanks. I thought as much. Yep. No stress. I'm okay if it's not now. Okay. No problem. Kentucky schedule a similar video in the near future. Thanks. Yeah, I definitely will if you guys enjoy them. Cody asked, did he freeze? Nope. Wasn't me. Super Taffy. Yeah. Fine maturity seems to pass well. It's possible. Again, some horses pass traits better than others. I've seen them pretty low. I've seen them pretty high. It just really depends. So there is one horse. I forget if this was asked in a prior week, but do any horses have preferences for poly, or is it either all turf or dirt? So there is not a distinct preference for poly. Poly doesn't get drawn the same way that turf or dirt do. Turf and dirt are kind of on, like, if you look at turf and dirt, they're kind of on a seesaw, right? So the more leaning a turf horse is, like, if it's on a scale of 1 to 10, say if 10 is for turf and 0 is for dirt, if the horse scores a 10, then he's going to be way better on turf, and he's going to probably suck on dirt, and vice versa. If he falls somewhere in the middle, he's probably going to be just as good on each. So as far as poly is concerned, poly actually gets drawn the poly factor actually gets drawn at the time a race is run. So poly gets determined based off of the turf dirt split, and it's kind of a unique calculation that looks at both turf and dirt and makes a determination as to which one the horse is going to key in on when it runs on poly. Best way I can explain that. Is poly leaning more dirty since poly wins? Nope. Would not say that, beer keg. Would not say that at all. All right. So what I'm going to do is I have one more that I want to look at. And I looked at this earlier with this person. But anybody who knows Valesa knows that her pride and joy in the sim is Melanie. And Melanie was a monster of a horse. Won tons of grade ones. And the thing I want to point out about this horse, if I can get it up. Come on now, there it is. This horse was technically not very, I don't want to say not very good. This horse, compared to the horses we looked at today, this is the lowest rated horse. Now, she was talented. She was talented, but she was nowhere near the level of the other 4 that I looked at. So the difference with this particular horse was how Valesa ran it. And what I mean by that is she found the horse was good at. She found what she was good at early. Yeah, she tinkered, here, obviously at 2 years old and got smoked. But once she realized she got smoked, she went right back. Right? Now, technically speaking, this horse probably should have been, 6. This is a sprinter special, right? Because that's what this horse was. This horse was, best distance was roughly 6.5. Maybe you could stretch it up to, maybe you could go, 6.5, 7, I would say. Very classy horse, not the highest level. Didn't have the best early form either, which is crazy. So didn't have the best 2-year-old form, but she found spots for this horse to succeed. And this is what any trainer can do, right? So she got the horse going here at, 5 furlongs, big win, 6.5, found second place, stuck with the stakes, first place, went straight to graded, and just moved the horse up the ladder, and the horse just responded, right? She just ran the way she was going to run because of the natural progression of things and how Valesa basically used her. And masterful, right? This is perfect. This is very, Spice Turtle-esque in the sense that once Dan figured out Spice Turtle, it was off and running. There was no stopping that horse. And that's the same thing that happened here with Melanie. She kicked ass here. She got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 graded wins by the time before she was 4. So pretty damn good job out of Valesa. So I just wanted to point that out, that even a horse that's not really super talented, if the trainer gets them in the right spots at the right times, and I know that's hard to do. I know that's very, very difficult to do, given the lack of information, right? But if you see something and something's working, this is a perfect example of, stick with what works. And the horse responded. The horse, made it happen. So, yeah, so that was her. And what I wanted to say is, again, or what I wanted to also say with this particular horse is, mature age was early into the 3-year-old season, and it lasted roughly a year, maybe a little bit longer than that. And you can see she starts to fall off at about 4 years old. So that's her. She was a very, very, very good horse. So, again, we're not, and again, I mean, you could look at her progeny, and make your own case. Do you think she's passing traits or not? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. By the looks of this, I would say no, or maybe she is, and these ones just aren't responding the same way that she did. So, again, it's a super fun story, at least from my side, because you don't see this very often. You don't see that a trainer takes a horse and makes it pretty damn good. Usually, it's the horse that kind of carries the trainer. Let me see. Where did I leave off in the comments? Rob, am I the only one that keeps trying to scroll the PPs on your screen? Probably, Rob. You might be. We have so few poly tracks anymore anywhere. Is it really viable to continue poly races in the sim? I don't. I've never raced poly. I refuse to do it because it just, it doesn't. I don't think it even gets automated or automatically generated. I might be wrong on that. So it's yeah, I mean, for me personally, I don't use poly. I would never tell somebody not to use it, not to race their horse on it. But for the most part, every horse is going to it's going to work this way. Your horse is either going to prefer dirt, it's going to prefer turf, or it's going to prefer both. So you have a 33% chance. Let's see. Scoob's a clown. Sure is, man. Scoob is the biggest clown. Poly races are bid only. Okay, yeah, I thought so. We have 5 pretty minor tracks that are poly anymore. I mean, isn't Gulfstream technically considered poly now? Aren't they they're like Tapeta or something like that? I forget. I don't even know if they're. I mean, I wouldn't call them minor. They're a pretty big track. So yeah, that was that. Yeah, I think they do, Rancho. I think they do have all 3, but I know they run on the Tapeta pretty often. So, especially since it's new. Let me move that over. So, what did I just do? I lost something. There it is. Yeah. So, that was that. What I'm going to do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 of y'all. How do we want to do this? How do we want to do this? All right. Gulfstream has turf, dirt, and poly. Yeah, I thought so. Taffy said, I kind of wondered if Devil was really talented just based on the speeds, and I know that family does well. The mom passes somewhat. It's possible, right? Like, I don't want to give anything away, right? I'm not going to tell you what your horse passes traits at, but it does. Yeah, I was going to say it could. It's one of those things. If you feel like you're seeing it pretty consistently out of the babies, then chances are you should probably kind of follow what you're seeing. You know what I mean? Again, take chances, calculated risks, right? That's the best way I can put it. Bizarre's made it. What's up, man? All right, so what I'm going to do, or what I think I'm going to do, is just randomly pick a number here. And how do I want to do this? One random number generator, and I got got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, it actually tells me right there. There's 16 of you in here, or 14 of you. Oh, I have 14 of you listed. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, I got 14 of you listed. So we'll do 1 to 14, generate. I got 5, so that would be 1, 2. Oh, nope. Hold on. Let me do that again. I screwed that up. 13 of you. Actually, 14 again because Bazal's is here. Sorry, I am screwing this up. So whoever I pick on this, I'll do one more horse that we can talk about, and then we'll go from there. All right, 5. So 5 really wants to go. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so Shag. Give me a horse, Shag. Give me a horse. No, Mike didn't give me the ability to hand out sire shares yet, so that'll be something hopefully on the horizon. He's going to show me how to do it, but I don't know how to do it just yet. So stay tuned. Maybe I'll get a Tappet share one day, or maybe I'll just keep saying I'm going to give you Tappet shares so you show up to the stream. So Shag, if you have a horse, oh my God, stop blocking Shag. Blocked beer keg for saying the word Shag. All right, there we go. So Shag has... Who is this Shag? This is St. Louis Orchestra. All right, all right. So thank you all again for joining here. We're going to go through one more horse, and then we'll probably call it a night unless anybody else has questions or what have you. Yeah, this is taking a minute to load, so we're just going to kind of let it do its thing. Shag was the winner of my drawing. All right. Out of Arch. Very nice. Okay. Ran 45 times. Okay. So let's find out what this horse did right and what it did wrong. Or what Shag did right and what Shag did wrong. All right. So this horse, I'm going to go ahead and give credit to Shag because this horse was about as talented as Melanie. So if we look at the horse and the distances and things of that nature, horse was probably best at about 10 furlongs. And then could have gone as low as 9, as high as 11. 11 would have really been stretching it. At least that's what this indicates here. I'm pretty sure the horse is probably going to prove me wrong, though. Was a pretty good, classy horse. Not the highest level, but a few ticks down. As far as maturity age is concerned, about 3.5 years old, this horse would have got real good. And the cool thing about this horse is that it was an Ironman horse in the sense that this horse would have lasted until it was almost 8 years old running at a high level. So that is pretty damn good. As far as the turf dirt split, it was a dirt horse. Shag figured that out pretty quick. Actually started him on dirt, which was pretty good, especially since, Arch and whatnot. But yeah, ran him really well. You could tell where he started to pick up here, obviously around July, is when the speed fig started to really pick up. And won the Equinix, however you decide you want to say it. But ran a 115, big win. That 14 furlong race was way out of her range. Came back, ran decent, ran okay, decent again. I mean, 6x7 is not terrible. Then came back and caught a second place. Yeah, I mean, Shag, I can't really say you did anything wrong, man. It looks like you kind of had this one figured out. Wear and tear looks like it starts to kick in probably about here in 2019. So roughly was that 16, 17, 18, 19. So late into the 4-year-old season is when it looks like it starts to kick in. My only thing would be or the only thing I would tell you is, well, no, I'm not even going to say that because you got a grade 1 win out of this horse and it was basically finding the right spot at the right time. And that's the best way I can put it. So, yeah, I mean, as you can see here, the horse was still competing. Still probably earning you BPs and what have you. Yeah, even then 10.5 found a win. Was getting you some BPs, but I'm sure at this point wear and tear probably took control. But yeah, overall, man, it's a damn good job, Shag. I mean, the fact that you got 4 wins out of this horse and one of them is a grade 1 win is pretty damn good. So, and at a grade 1 win against probably one of the toughest competitions to win. So not even that, but this horse ran above. So you got everything right going into this race. So, damn good. This horse's name was St. Louis Orchestra, and I know I had some questions here. Jono says, I have a question, please. I set my horses for, let's say, 4 weeks and 1 week out. Pick a race. Is this wrong, or should I pick the race 4 weeks out, for example? All right, so I will show you what I do. So this, for anybody who's looking, this is my stable. This is my personal little operation here. This is what I do. I usually enter a horse right away, right? If I can't find a horse to enter, or if I can't find a spot to enter right away, what I'm doing here is I'm just going to training and I'm pushing it out however many days, and that's it. So let me see. Go to my horses that are not actually trained up at the moment, who raced today. I don't think I fixed any of them. So, like, for example, Nori, I think, won today. Yeah, Nori won today. So I would automatically, for this horse, I would probably try to find a race. That would be what I would do. This horse, Rolls Roy, sucked again, despite taking a nice little chunk of change out of my pocket. This horse, I am so mad at it, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to kick it down the street a little bit. Just say, get lost. I don't want to see you until August. And that's it. That's what I do. So that's typically, how things go, or how I handle the training. I did have some questions recently regarding the farm. The farm is really not going to benefit you in any capacity. The only at least this is my opinion, and I have not found anything in the code that would suggest putting something on the farm is going to benefit you in any way. I actually think it's going to do the opposite. It's going to turn your horse piggy and maybe take a few points away from form. But the goal, at least from my perspective, is to always keep your horse conditioned and keep them in tip-top shape. And the way to do that is by setting training out and finding races. And that's that. Yeah, but okay. Jono says, yeah, okay. But if you have him set for 6 weeks, do you enter it a week out from the 6 weeks being up? Nah. So what I'll do is, if I have him, here, let's kind of go through it. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. So like for this horse right here, 3 weeks out. Usually what I do is when they hit 2 weeks, I'll enter. So for here, like he won. Oh, he won first out. Maybe I don't want to put you back in claimers. For the sake of this. So for this horse, he ran on 5:28. I like to go 6 to 8 weeks for my 2-year-olds. So here, what I'll do is we'll just go. We'll go here. We'll go 7 furlong or 7.5 for an NW2L, and that's it. And now when the week rolls around, he'll be sharp. I've never had a race not go sharp. Thank you for that. I keep telling my residency members that, and some disagree. I only farm horses for Gelding. Yeah, I mean the horses. Like I said, there's the only real reason for the farm is, number one, to either retire a horse or to geld. That's it. It's not going to do anything else. At least not that I've seen. And again, don't take what I say as gospel. I mean, you can take it as like I'm 90% right most of the time, or I'm 90% right. There is going to be those off chances where I am wrong. Again, some of the older players have disproven some of the things I've said in the past. I think Dan caught me on something that I was off on, that I had confused in the code. So again, I'm human. I'm learning this stuff on behind the scenes. There is the possibility that I can get things wrong. This, however, I'm pretty sure I'm right on. Use it simply because you get trigger happy and you want to run them too often sometimes. Yeah, I mean, I'll show you what I do in that scenario, Steve, is I literally, if you look here, I have stuff pushed 28, 32. I have stuff pushed 58 weeks out because, yeah, it just, like, this horse sucked. So I pushed it out. I know that I did, at least with this particular mare, I know that the mare routed. Yeah, she won 4 routes and she went going long. And most of her wins were later in her career too, if I'm not mistaken. Late into the 3-year-old. Yeah, late into the 3-0 season. Then when she turned 4, she started winning again. So seriously, that's kind of the way that I handle it. And again, this horse might go piggy. It might not. If it does, oh well. I'll train him up again and let him run. And if I miss the window, then I miss the window on it. And that's the way it works. I'll move on to the next horse. I'm not going to get them all right. That's the way that anybody should look at it. Is there's no possible way for you to get them all right. Nobody does in horse racing. In real life, it's not going to happen in the sim either. So, let's see. So where did I leave off? Beer Keg. Beer Keg trains 5 weeks out, then enters when they hit sharp. Week number drops to 0. I don't even know if that was English, Beer Keg, and you use you spoke in the third person, you son of a bitch. Sabbath says, wear and tear. Is it about how early, how many races, how little rest, how far away from distance, surface preference, and or other factors? No, so wear and tear is kind of just based on your horse's ability to manage it, and you'll kind of see that in the past performances as your horse runs, and usually when they fall off the cliff, it's pretty obvious. Like they go from like a 1-0, like let's say they go from running like 112 to the next race is like 105, and then they don't bounce back after the 105, like they don't go up and they go down again. Chances are it's over for that horse. So yeah, that's the best way to kind of explain wear and tear, but it's more or less geared towards how early and how often you run the horse, Sabbath. So if the horse is not ready to be run as a 2-year-old, meaning like, again, some horses can overcome this, right? But if the horse is not ready to be run at 2 years old, like say the maturity is 5, and the horse just sucks at 2, and you keep running it and running it and running it and hoping it's going to basically turn a corner that's never going to come, then what ultimately happens is you're just adding early wear and tear on a horse that's not actually mature enough to handle the wear and tear. So it kind of exacerbates it a little bit. It multiplies it a little bit higher than it normally would be if the horse was in its maturity curve. Steve says use it to get trigger. Oh, I read that already. Vision. So I put about 30 in the farm for no benefit. Yeah. Yeah, Jono, that's my opinion. I mean, you put about 30 on the farm to probably save yourself from running them. So you can take some positives out of it if you want. It's a place to stash a well-bred male claimer for 7 years while you debate whether to breed him. Yeah, that's one. That is one way to look at it, Shag. Beer Keg says 90% bull, 90% of the time, 69% of the time tops. Yeah, that's probably more fair. 69% of the time, I'm right all the time. So just so we all have that Steve says, yeah, I've done something similar with a few of my 2-year-olds, which obviously aren't early runners. The only difference, I just buy a race for them for 6 months down the track. Yeah, and that's a way to do it too, right? Because you set it and you forget it. Training is the most straightforward part of this game. So literally, your horse, there really shouldn't, this is my opinion, I've never had a horse run RTG or ready to go that I didn't set myself. Meaning I knew the horse was RTG and I put it in a race because I screwed something up training-wise. That's happened to me maybe once or twice. Outside of that, every single time I run, my horses are sharp. And I use this exact method where I push things out as far as I want to push them out. If they go piggy, I'll literally find a race for them, 2 to 3 weeks away from the day that I'm going to enter. And that's that. And they usually find their way back, to peak form. So, or I shouldn't say usually, I would say they'll either come back and they'll run their race, or they'll come back like shit, and I'll, set them up for another 4 to 5 weeks down the road. If they're, older horses, if they're young, or if they're younger horses, I'll probably do, 5 to 6 weeks. If they're still babies, I'll do 6 to 8 weeks, and just kind of go from there. Let's see. Taffy says she has several right now that are hitting wear and tear. Bizarre, is that Steve? It sure is. Dragno says, I don't think effort has been mentioned. Does that affect wear and tear too? Kind of. So obviously the more effort you're putting out, the more likely. All right, so let me just take one step back. With the effort, excuse me, with the effort slider, I probably wouldn't mess with this slider. And the only reason why I say that is because the jockeys know enough to know what to do with this slider, right? So if a jockey knows he doesn't have any horse, he's not going to push the limit with the horse and kill the wear and tear, so to speak. Wear and tear typically is going to be whatever it's going to be at the class level. So that part of it won't really actually screw anything up. All this does is it just tells the jockey, hey, don't beat the crap out of my horse and take him out of condition. So I hope that makes sense. Ben's my buddy going to bed night. I'll take care, King. I will catch up with you, dude. LBC Cody, I have a strong feeling that my retired horse, Ferrante's Folly, was a one-trick pony and would only run at 9 furlongs. Was I right? You'll have to find out next time, Cody. You shoot me over PM on Slack, or you can shoot me the horse on, what do you call it? On the forum. Sorry, I don't know why that was so difficult for me to get through. Do you ever go by 5 times for any indication on distance or no? What do you mean go by 5 times? Are you talking about for the breeding? What is Francois drinking tonight? I am drinking orange mango water, sparkling water. Maybe I'll get a sponsorship out of this. Yeah, that's all I'm drinking, man. No alcohol tonight, unfortunately. I got a long day tomorrow and Saturday. I'm going. Tomorrow I have to work my normal job, and then I have to head to South Florida on a business trip to help my buddy with a construction job. So be out in the Florida sun all day Saturday, and then I'm going to drive 4 hours home later that night. So it's going to be a long day for me. Did LSU win, Rob? I haven't watched. I watched a little bit yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to catch any of it today because I'm talking to you fine people. Bazals, how can I get jockey I name to have a better rating? You slip me $100 bill the next time I'm in your neck of the woods there, Bazals. That's all. Getting the 5 times breeding. So no, I would say that it goes as far as 3, Jono. That's what I would base it on. So the 3 sires that you can see in the normal pedigree is the one that I would go on. The other stuff is kind of just there as, pizzazz. Beer keg, Laker Lager from the Canadian brewer of Landshark Lager. Bottom of the 11th, really? Wow, that's awesome, man. Well, congrats. You're going to the national championship to play UF, right? UF is in the national championship. Yeah, so John, I've never looked at the 5 times, but I know a lot of people have. I know a lot of people. Please bring on jockey comments. Shitty trainers like me need this feature. So I actually worked on it a little bit the other day. I didn't really like how it turned out, but the jockey comment stuff it didn't turn out the way that I had hoped. So I'm not even going to save it and show Mike. That's how bad that's how bad I thought it worked out. But again, we are working on stuff. So just so you guys know, it's not that we're not working on anything. I mean, Mike's on vacation right now, much deserved for him. But yeah, I mean, there's a huge rewrite that we're doing on the back end that's going to take a lot of time. We're trying to push some new stuff out to you guys, hopefully by the end of the summer, which should come here very, very soon. It's creeping up on us quick. But yeah, it's just tough. It's finding that fine line, right? Like we can give you clues, but we don't want to give you the whole picture. You know what I mean? So if I could do something like what I did tonight, where I told you a little bit about something, but I didn't give you everything, that's kind of the goal that we're gonna kind of shoot for. So let's see. Steve says, "Are you likely to get a comment from the jockey like this horse sucks? Stops wasting your time." Well, I mean, the beauty of it is we can make them as blunt as we want. So we could, say, "Hey, maybe you should just quit the game because this isn't your sport." Kidding, won't do that. Could you make the comment in Australian like, "Crikey, your horse is a shitty." Send it to the knackery. Sure, we'll have specific, language for specific jockeys. Back to Bizal's question: what does it take to have your jockeys to improve in the system and get them an RMIN rating? It's all based on results. Skip. Sorry, I thought Bizal's was asking like tongue in cheek that question, so I apologize if you weren't asking that as tongue in cheek. But yeah, I mean, it's really based on results. So the horses, you should see the ones that have the most success, or the jocks that have mins are typically the ones that have the most success. So the thing about this game is that everything is player driven. So if I think I'm gonna point to the ticker, right, the Sire ticker where we all buy our shares. If people are paying over 1,000 credits for a particular sire consistently, and I saw somebody complain about this the other day on the chat. I won't say who, but I saw somebody complain about this on the chat the other day, and they're constantly complaining that sires don't drop under 1,000 credits, or certain sires don't drop under 1,000 credits. Well, the reason for that is because somebody always has a bid out for 1,000 credits. So what basically happens is that anytime you have a sire over 1,000 credits, there's basically like two drawings, and I'm pretty sure they're like somewhere between 5 and 10 days apart. I don't remember the exact day, but one's for high bid, one's for whoever bid the most, right? So if you bid 4,000 credits on a Tapit sire, you're gonna get you're gonna pay 4,000 credits for it if you're the highest one, right? But the other one is a random drawing for anybody who's got a bid over 1,000 credits and has that money in their system, or has the creds in their account at that moment, right? So if, say for example, you win the random lotto, say there's 100 bids on Tapit over 1,000 credits, and you are the winner, but you don't have the 1,000 creds in your account, it goes to the next person. It picks somebody else and gives it to that person. So you have to have the credits in your account in order to win that lotto. Now, high bid, you just basically have to have the high bid, and that's the way it works. Sire talk, great. Yeah, we can talk sires a little bit. I am Beer Keg. Doesn't the high bidder pay the second highest bid or the second highest? Yeah, so pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much it, BK. I just said highest bid because it fit better into the sentence. I got a Tapit in the most recent Tapit Lotto. I got a Tapit Lotto. You got a Tapit Lotto once. Was so cool. Yeah. Again, it's all random. I mean, I've won. I don't know if I've ever won a Tapit Lotto, to be honest. Maybe I did. 69% scenario. That's right. 69% of the time, I'm right all the time. I was still right, BK, you son of a bitch. I just didn't say it the way that you wanted me to say it. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, that's kind of the way that the sires work. So you'll never see a Tapit go under 1,000 credits unless in real life he starts pushing out horses with only 3 legs. That's it. Oh, Keg's my buddy, man. I love Keg. I have conversations with Keg privately all the time. So that's my boy. Him and Rob, I can mess with them, and Donnie. I can screw with all of them, and they know I'm just kidding. So, he has a passion for 69. That's true. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's the thing to do in Canada, right? BK. I waited almost a year for Ghost Zapper in the Lotto and got tired of waiting and bought Awesome again for less. Yeah, That's possible, Rancho. That is possible. I missed your 5X question, Link. Fuck you, Donnie. That's right. What was your 5X question? I hope 5X isn't too important. What's wrong with your 5X? I mean, Mike's I haven't seen anything. Again, I haven't seen anything to support the 5X theory. I could be wrong. I could fall into that 69% that BK likes to put me in, which is a weird sentence. But yeah, it's again, it goes back to inbreeding, right? Where a certain level of inbreeding does take place. Those things are checked in the system or at the time of breeding, right? But really all that does, and it's very subtle and minuscule in the grand scheme of things, but it just essentially moves the talent meter. It just widens the gap, right? It just says you could have a horse that has a ceiling of 10 and a floor of -10. And that's it. It's as simple as that. The more inbreeding you have, the lower that floor gets, or the higher it gets, and that's really it. But nothing is hard coded. Nothing is hard coded. This sire is going to be good with this sire all the time, or anything like that, or this sire meshes up with this or with this sire all the time. Doesn't work that way. It's all based on the sire's individual rating in the system. So I'm going to put that to bed. Let's see. We got Ghost Zapper has been going for low numbers. Gotten 4 recently on the cheap. Anything going on? Yeah. When you say gotten him for low, what's low? Because I don't think he's going below 1,000. And if he is, y'all better scoop him up. Let's take a look at the ticker right now and just take a little look-see and see what's out there. Let's see what's available on cost. Am I on 2-year-olds? Yeah, I am. Okay. Yeah, so your top right now is New Year's Day, Extreme Choice, Mondonegal, McKinsey, Adelaide. Hey, Chubb. Claims Music. Yeah. I mean, it's about right, I would say. Now, I can tell y'all that there's a lot of sires that go for a lot of sires. A lot of they're not elite, but they're pretty good. They do find their way into credits, and a lot of us just don't look at them because we think that they're not popular names. So, Rob, I think I spent the highest for a sire ever. Care to share, Rob? I'm interested to see what you spent. He's 24 years old. Is Ghost Zapper getting a downgrade? I don't know yet, to be honest with you, Skip. Haven't gotten that far. We'll probably take a look at the sire stats for the year, see what his progeny did, because all that stuff gets researched. Like I said, it's a pretty tedious process. So all that stuff gets researched, and we look at certain things, and yeah, I mean, if he warrants a downgrade, he'll get a downgrade. If not, then what will ultimately happen is he'll take, if they decommission him or what have you, then he'll move into the DS level, and he'll keep whatever rating he's got. Beer Keg is inbreeding is safe as long as she's your second cousin. Isn't that Mike's rule? I mean, he is from Kentucky. Possible. Does the sire get an automatic downgrade when they move from Kentucky to, say, Turkey or something? Not necessarily. It's dependent on what the progeny do, and it's also dependent on the sire price. So it's not always like a 1-to-1 thing. Again, it's really dependent on where they compare to their peers and all that fun stuff. Not below 1,000, but I got 4 for 10, 11. Yeah, that's pretty good, Skip. I mean, if you got Go Zapper for that, I'd listen. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Go Zapper does pretty good in this game. So, can you bring Flying Spur back for Jono? Is Flying? Let me see something. Is he 3-year-old only now? Oh, he must be. Oh, he's not anything. Where the hell is he? There he is. Yeah. I mean, he's still there to use. I can't bring him back, but he's still there to use. Let's see. Over $50 for Gallo. Oh my God, you son of a bitch. Bless your heart. Frank probably did see how many I breed in the old days and all rubbish. Oh, no, listen, I'll be honest with you guys. I've seen some pretty shitty horses. I've never tied them back to owners. I mean, I always just assumed they were beer kegs. But, again, I've seen some pretty crappy ones that, that I would never have touched. Again, you're going to get what you get, based on your sire selection, right? So I wouldn't, if you want something, the best way to put this is, right, is to manage your expectations accordingly. If you're breeding 3 10-point sires together and you think you're going to get the next Derby winner out of that, you should probably quit the game, because that's not going to happen. So, but if you're breeding something that's very good and you're consistently looking at the top sires, yeah, there's a better chance that you're going to get an opportunity to run the Derby or run in some of the big races or whatnot. I mean, yeah, that's an increased opportunity. It's not to say that the opportunity doesn't exist breeding low-level horses, but just like in the real life, like, very rarely does that happen. So it's very rarely is it going to happen in the sim. Let me see. Where did I miss? Beer keg. Keep getting those zappers. Do they adjust DS ratings? We can adjust them, Taffy. I wanted to share and couldn't get it. Or are they set what they retired at? I think Mike has made changes to DSs in the past. I think Scat Daddy's one of them that I remember him making a change to. So you can do it, or we can do it. I don't know that he does it very often, but it's possible. At least you didn't mention 69 in that sentence. BK, I win. That's not true, BK. Now you're just telling lies. Over $50 for Galileo. Yeah, man. That's lining them pockets, man. Lining them pockets. Oh yeah, no. With all the money I've given to this game, I'm pretty sure I've paid for tuition for at least one of Mike's kids. Let's see. Where am I at? Sorry, I'm trying to get caught up on the chat here. That should have said Mike's fan. Oh, I've already read that. Heart the trash. Yeah, listen, and there's nothing wrong with playing low-level sires, right? Some people are good at it. Some people find them. But you can't get mad when you're breeding horses that never did a damn thing in real life and they're producing stuff that's not going to do anything in the sim. Just the way it works. I fed them quite a lot, Steve. Set your goal based on what you breed. 10, 10, 10, and cross my fingers for a claimer. Sometimes you don't even get that. Needs to make DS a separate purchase from 2-year-old. What do you mean? You mean like from a sire share? I'm guessing that's what you mean, Rob. Normally I'd agree with you, but gets a little bit dicey. From a coding perspective, it gets a little bit to be too much to manage, is the best way I can put it. So think of it this way. If we're producing ratings right now for thousands of sires, we're producing at least, I don't know, there's probably close to 6,000 sires in the game. So producing at least 6,000 ratings, individual ratings for each sire. If I multiply that by 3, now I'm doing 18,000. It's already a pretty tedious process, so to do that too, it gets difficult. Not to mention it'd probably make you guys go crazy. Let's see, the first 2 cars and house I ever owned are Mike's. That's pretty good, Rob. 68, you do me and I owe you one. All right, there you go. There you go. That's not going to work for me, Bazals, but maybe it'll work for Old beer keg over there. I have no kids, too. I am just lining Mike's pocket. Well, we're all supporting Mike's retirement fund with my focus on South African breads. Bargain breads are part of the game. Got a bunch of yeah, and again, like I said earlier, I mean, a good trainer will find a way to get graded wins. And not to put Shag out there, but Shag's horse probably had no business winning a grade 1, but he found a good spot for it. His residency let him run that horse at that distance, and they won. They won that horse. They won at that race and at that distance for the Equinix. So you gotta test the waters, so to speak. Make educated guesses. I think he means share purchase SPO. Buying a sire doesn't take the DS share for the week. No, I know what he means. BK. So horse available for sire has same class level for DS and DDS. Yep. No more credit purchases until this happens. Oh, well, I guess I'll have to just invest your $50 Galileo in some sort of CD. If a sire is, let's say, Kentucky, and they are bought and moved in real life to another country, I think I answered that already. No, they don't we don't downgrade based on location. It's still based off of production from the sire. Plus, it's also based off of sire price. So, yeah, 50% of sire shares leads to fillies too. So if there were extra DS shares available, it could flood even more elite sires. Oh yeah, I mean, you guys right now have already literally populated the game with tons and tons of elite bred horses, and there's nothing wrong with that. It just makes the game super competitive. That's all. And again, making it so that the DS is on its own or what have you is probably, at least at this point, not the way to go, especially with the direction that we're trying to take things. And again, that'll make more sense probably as we get closer to the end of the summer. You're welcome, Shag. So what are your thoughts on Australian dollar conversion in the game? Will this ever be fixed so we go dollar for dollar like you guys? I don't know anything about that, Jono, to be honest with you. If I could, excuse me, if there was something I could do about it, then I would. But all that stuff goes through a third party, so I don't really know the answer to that. That's a good question for Mike, though. He would have a lot more information on that than I would. Let's see. I'm betting that was my decision to let him win. Had to be somebody's decision. My spelling is OP. That's okay. Midas, you and I stocked our Equinix a few times. Anytime my horses are filling Equinix fields, it spells troubles, except for that time. Hey, it worked out there, man. Did Keg just talk about flooding elites? That was a poor choice of words. That was a very poor choice of words. Oh, Jesus. So it cost you 200 for 200, and it cost me more. Yeah, I mean, again, man, I can't really speak to that. So, I don't know. Again, if that's the way it works, that's the way it works. I only came on. I don't have any control over the. I don't have any control over the money side of the game. So, if this happens, the Americans would be buying. Yeah, maybe. No, I got you, man. It's a fair question. It is like, it's. I just don't have the answer, unfortunately, and that'll fall into the, the other 31% that I'm unfamiliar with, as Keg would, put it. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. I mean, the best I can tell you guys as far as sire shares are concerned is there's a lot of good sire shares at a lot of different levels. Sire, damn sire, damn sire, that go for pretty cheap on the regular. Again, a lot of us get stuck on the year a horse is bred or what have you. The year a horse was born and then breed off of that. Doesn't make a difference. What about betting coming back to the game? I understand there was issues and discontinued, but betting is a part of horse racing. I would love to see this part of the game with appropriate controls to ensure fairness and not exploits, which I understand. Yeah, I mean, so the bones of it are there. I've seen the code for that. The bones of it are there. The problem, like you said, is it got exploited. So I don't really know if we're going to bring it back. I'd like to say yes, but it's not really a priority at the moment. The priority at the moment is always going to be the structural integrity of the game, which is priority number one right now. So we have the server up and running pretty nicely. We just got to get the back end code fixed up, and then we'll kind of go from there. But yeah, so the betting piece of it will, could be something we discuss and we kick down the road. But yeah, is it even worth the hassles to bring betting back to the game? It's just a Hornets. Yeah, that's kind of there's an ROI to it, right? Like a return on investment. Is it going to be worth the effort on our end? Possibly. Again, if it's something that the community really wants, then we can always try to make it happen. Whether or not we do, again, where it lands in the spectrum of importance is an entirely different question. BK, could it come back from major races, morning line odds based on the race odds, but set payouts based on user bets? Would it be possible to add betting in group races? So BK, to answer your question, maybe. We'd really have to sit down and figure that out because I don't know. I don't have enough knowledge about the old process to know if it went up to the time of the race or if it was locked at the time the race closed. Would it be possible to add betting in group races and having I think that was the same question. You got a ton of money. Jono, it would be worth it if the game takes a percentage of each bet play. I mean, the sim money doesn't really do much for us, to be honest. Sim money is really just a way for players to kind of indulge themselves in the free part of the game. Whether they're buying horses in the auction, claimers, that sort of thing. Had a ton of money. I was like that, like last on that ball. Yeah. So, yeah. But anywho, I think that is gonna do it. So unless anybody else has any questions, man, we went for a good while tonight, huh? I didn't even realize what time it was. It's 10:30 already, so I was gone for about an hour and a half. That's again. Thanks. Oh, no problem, guys. So it's like I have a huge balls. Look at my 5 million in my stable. Something like that. Yeah. Spend your 5 million on horses. Jack up the prices in the auction. And remember, because this was also something that occurred in the auction, the max payout you can get in the auction is $5 million. Anything over that you get taxed by the sim. Thanks for the chat. Betting is part of racing and needs to be included again. This is my opinion and is lacking on this issue compared to other sims that we compete with. Yeah, again, fair. It's a fair point, Skip. Like I said, it's just got to be done differently. That's all, and we'll get there. Like I said, there's other fish to fry at the moment, though. There's some other features that I think are going to create a little bit more immersion than betting will. But I'm not saying we won't get there. I'm just saying that it's really not a priority at the moment. I'll catch you all later. Better go and pretend to be working. Thanks for video chat. It was great. Yep. No problem, Skip. Thank you for the time. Love it. Oh, awesome, man. Glad everybody enjoyed it and get us our BPs. Oh, so if you were in the chat, I will probably send you credits. So I don't know how much I'm going to send yet, but you'll probably get something from either me, from my account personally, Francois4, or you will get... or it'll come from the administrator account. I haven't figured out which one I want to send them through. All right, you friends, and fuck you, Donnie. All right, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. I got to end it right there. Anyways, appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining. It was a blast. I had a good time. If if you enjoyed the sim, comment in the Slack or comment in the forum and let me know. And if we want to do another one of these again, we can do that. Hopefully, I'll have Mike with me on the next one. Yeah, we'll have some fun. But other than that, appreciate you guys being here, and y'all have a good one. Good luck with the races.